Warrior Mindset Podcast. We are your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
All right. One of the things I was thinking about in the shower this morning
Get up in there though.
is,
Yeah.
one of the things I was thinking about in the shower this morning was I don't believe that you can be a owner, boss, leader with and have a fear of confrontation. I don't think the two things go together. I don't think you can be successful without a healthy I guess I should put headphones on.
It's up to you.
Without
You sound good.
being able to say, there's the problem. How am I going to deal with that problem?
Oh, I got you.
You know what I mean? That's confrontation.
Confronting your own demons.
Yeah. As opposed
Yeah.
to saying, what I see a lot of people doing is saying, how can I get around the problem?
Dude, they do that most people do that in every aspect of their life, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, you got it?
I don't know what's happening. This is totally my fault. I probably should have put this on before we start talking. I love it. I love the flowing nature of it. But
Our audience is used to it. Well, yeah, we started off with how many people just quit before they should?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a hard thing to know. It's a fine line, right? It takes sometimes it takes getting opinions from other people, having a mentor, praying about whatever you got to do. But I feel like people a lot of times just quit so soon. Relationships, businesses,
everything. And I think, again, I think it's that fear of confrontation.
I think you're right.
There's a thing that I need to confront. But instead of confronting it, how can I get around it? That's from everything that's light, like I don't have a website. So I'm just gonna do everything on Instagram.
Yeah.
When it's
right.
You're not addressing the problem. The problem is that you have a website.
Right.
Going to open a Facebook page or a website is not solving your problem. You've
right. It's not gonna replace it.
Yeah. And so that's something that's on the lighter end. On the harder end is, I was telling you, we lost some big contracts at the end of right at the beginning of Q4. Losing a bunch of money can make people go, well, how can I get around? Nah, like I had to, after I was sad and depressed, I went, what happened here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got to go back and look at these.
I got to go back and look
them.
at, I can fix this. I can change this. This is restructured. I was doing this wrong. Like, it reminds me, and I love, one of the reasons I love talking to you, because you are a exercise guy, workout guy, so you can relate to a lot of that terminology. And it's the same way, it's the same approach in the gym. It's the same exact approach. We can go, hey, we're using kettlebells today.
Yep.
And you can go, well, I'm just gonna do these dumbbells. But you're not facing your issue. Your issue is you have a problem using kettlebells.
I had it's funny, literally this morning, was the same sort of issue in class. Somebody was not wanting to do what we had written.
Yes.
And I was like, and I had to confront them a little bit. I was like, it's not because you can't do it. I know you can do it.
You can do it.
It's because you don't want to do.
You want to go
this
around.
much of it. Yeah, because it doesn't feel so good.
Doesn't feel so good, right? Yeah. And it's like, so then to me, it always comes back to fear, because then it's like, oh, well, you don't actually want to confront the fact that you're here to improve your physical health. You actually don't want to do that.
That's right.
Because if you want to go the feel good way, then you're going to go around the problem.
Yep.
And going around the problem is how I think people end up quitting.
I think you're right.
Because you're not finding solutions.
You're not committing to it.
You're not committing. You're not committing to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh no,
bro.
we're gonna open a Pandora's box.
I mean, but
in business, I see it all the time. I see people
all the
they
time.
just kind of duck out because it's not quite working, so we'll just fold it up.
And I tell this to my students. I teach a 598 course at the School of Visual Art and Design for the University of South Carolina. I do it once a year, once a semester. And I love teaching that class, by the way. I talk more about that later. But one of the things I tell my students all the time is your critique of your work is not critique of you.
Oh, man.
Right?
That's deep. Yeah.
It's not a personal attack against you.
Yeah.
It's only a critique of the work you've done.
Mm-hmm.
The work you've done can always change. And it's like when people quit when it comes to business, it's usually because they feel like it's me. I'm a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I can't get it. Nah, but maybe you just have a problem with accounting. Maybe accounting ain't your jam.
Right.
So you got to figure out the accounting issue. Like for us, one of our major issues was cash flow, right? So then I couldn't look at that and go, I could look at that cash flow issue and say, fuck the banks.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them. They all can suck a whatever, right?
Right.
Or I could go, I have a cash flow issue. What are some other ways that I can make money?
Mm-hmm.
What are some other ways that I can work accounting or save money or get more value? Like there's so many avenues when you're looking at it from, I'm not afraid to confront the issue, as opposed to when you're saying you're taking it personal and you're like, you know what? I'm just not, you hear that, right? You hear that a lot? I'm just not good at doing business. I'm just not. Gene, Gene, you're a magic man. You're amazing. You're a transformer, octagon.
Right.
I could never do what you do. I could never.
Right.
And it's like, what you're really saying, I think, is you have a problem confronting.
I love that.
Your issues.
You're right.
And you take it personally. You go, I can't even imagine how many times you heard somebody say that. It's me. I just can't. I can't.
100%. 100%.
It's a personal thing, and I'm just not designed.
It's very superficial, actually. And there's, the gym version of that is I'll come to the gym workout whenever I get in shape.
Yep.
You hear that one. I'm sure you've
or
maybe even used it. I know I've used it before too, and it's kind of like, well, what gym are you going to get in shape? Because I want to go join that one.
I want to go join that gym where it's not a gym
where they have
that's getting me in shape.
They have the secret sauce to all this. But it's the same in business.
It's the
same in relationships.
Same in relationships.
Now, obviously, there's a point in time when you have to get out. I mean, obviously, when it is destructive.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When you are literally homeless from your business, maybe. I mean, you have to manage that like real danger versus am I just like you're saying, am I just like not willing to dig into this? So fuck it. Or is there really a problem here?
Yeah. I mean, there is a I think this is going back to what I was saying about confrontation, but there's a real avoidance of dealing with reality. And I think that is where, in my opinion, when to quit or not. I have this analogy about love. And the analogy goes like this. I'll say, I love people like I love the wind. When the wind is nice and beautiful and gentle and it's blowing against the trees and my skin, I'm walking, that's nice. But when that wind gets violent and torturous and it's flipping over cars and trees, I got to get in the house and protect myself.
When it's early February and it's cold as hell.
You know what I mean? Like that to me is how I think, that analogy of how I deal with love is the same way you got to, I think, deal with business. There are times when it's like beautiful, like the breeze, but there are times where it could be bad. And so you have to ask yourself, how much, like love, how much am I willing to take if I can no longer protect myself?
Yep.
If I can't get in the house and be like, I ain't going outside, I just seen a tree get ripped out of the
Right,
ground.
right.
The dude was trying to walk, he flew out. And I can, if I can go in the house and protect myself, I'm okay from that violent wind.
Right.
But if it starts puncturing my house and windows and it starts crashing,
Yeah,
you got to go.
Yeah.
It's time for me to.
I like that
Time
metaphor.
for me to go. Because what I like about that metaphor is it speaks to collateral damage, which is what I think a lot of business owners don't think about. And it's easy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is actually a good thing to talk to you about. Like, I think it's easy for business owners to get so trapped into the thinking about taking it personal, but also the fact that it's their idea, that they can't see the collateral damage of what it's doing to their wife, what it's doing to your girlfriend, your kids, your bank account, your
touch a
finances.
nerve with that one.
You know what I mean? Like that, man.
That's not just business either.
You can't have the trees crashing the walls and crashing your house, and you're standing in the middle of a house with no walls and saying to everybody, "It's fine." It's fine. I know there's fire in the backyard now and the walls are gone. There's no ceiling, but I can put this all back together. Like, you can't.
How do you manage family and business? Like, that's a tough part. And I'll tell you, the first it's like, all right, so I've been in business for myself for probably more, but let's just go with 25 years.
Yeah, way longer than me.
It's not a contest.
You're an OG.
I'm kind of dumb, that's why. But like, and so my point with bringing that up is that in that much time, you're not the same business that you start the first 5 years. I'd say like maybe about every, pandemics aside, every about 5 years or so, your business, and that's just a random time that I think back, it changes, and it's gonna change. Maybe it's maybe you've maintained the same type of business for 10, 15 years, but it's different people. You've turned over staff. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
You're maybe doing a different part of the business than you were when you first started it. I mean, hopefully you are, because life is a long process, and when you first start out and it's just you're doing everything. But so when I first started, it's not the same business. So I would say like the third iteration of making money with all of this stuff is we produced events. And locally Converge, we did a bunch of things. I acquired another event production called Breaking Development. Is right around the time when
probably I think I first met you, actually.
Probably was, but developing websites on iPhones, right around the iPhone came out. It's a whole track. So I did all that and borrowed money, got in over my head, so acquiring an event production, you're going to acquire the business, but you also acquire their contracts, which it's an event. So you got to sell tickets. Otherwise you owe the money. So there's like all this different levels of things. And, I was just doing that without really weighing like you're saying, the collateral damage that could happen, because I'm still here. So it didn't blow us up completely, but with the family and friends, you know what I mean? And that's dangerous.
It is. Not only is it dangerous, I have experienced the results of that danger firsthand. And I think it's been time enough that I can say this publicly. I think so. I gotta think about it, because I'm like, are we saving this? Because we're working on. So we're developing I definitely could say this. We're developing a documentary for World Famous Hip Hop Family Day, and the journey it took for us to get there. And a lot of people know that I used to run World Famous Hip Hop Family Day, but when I stepped down, I kind of got kicked out. It wasn't so much stepping down, and that happened. And I won't say all the details. I'll say that for the story. But that happened because I was not mindful of collateral damage at all. I'm, and I don't know. I feel like we both have a little bit. I think almost every entrepreneur has a little bit of this. Like we're visionaries and ambitious. So we are like careening towards the goal. However, for me, when I was careening towards a goal, I was not looking to my left or my right to see if
Mhm.
everybody was okay with careening, because I am. You know,
That's the other.
I'm
Yeah.
everybody around me will tell you, I can't wait to share a lot of these things with the world, but they'll tell you I'm a storm. Like when I see the goal, I am,
Mm,
there's nothing that's going to get in my way. I'm going to get to the other side.
mm,
But what I did not know how to do was to look around me and see that people were devastated by the debris I left. I had trees and limbs and cars like smacking people around, and I was
mhm,
not paying any attention. And I lost almost all of my friends,
mm,
you know, business friends, business partners, friendships, relationships. I was burning it all down. And I just didn't, I was so caught up in the vision. I was so caught up in my idea.
mhm.
I was so caught up in the fact that it could happen, how big it was, how grand it was, that I was not stopping to look left and right, to see that that everybody was looking at me like, we have to get him the fuck out of here. And then that's what ended up happening. It was more so
Mm.
like, you got to change, you got to go. And I was like, huh?
Change me.
We just had all these things happen. They were like, but look at the wreckage. And then I
Right.
looked at the wreckage. I was like, I
Ooh,
felt terrible.
oops.
I was like, I have to go.
Mhm.
Like, I can't. I got to figure out for me why I don't look at the wreckage.
Right. Right.
And that to me goes back to what we were saying about,
Mhm.
I could have been like, I quit.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm
Yep.
just not. But I went and said, what's my issue? What's the problem here? And then how can I deal with that problem instead of going around it? And
Mhm.
I could have easily started something else with a
Yep.
new group of people and went down, you know what I mean? Did it all over again,
Mhm.
right? Because you see people do that all the time, particularly in
Absolutely.
business, particularly when they have
Absolutely.
resources.
Yep.
They do not learn the lesson, and then they go wreck
Do the same
another
thing
100
again.
lives, and
Yep.
then they wreck another 100 lives. And there's a awareness there that I think you have to have, as well as a humbleness,
Mhm.
when it comes to exactly that point. And I think, yeah, I think
Mhm.
it's almost like maybe every 5 years entrepreneurs should have a like a intervention. Do you think that would have helped
It can
you?
be healthy.
Like after that every 5 years,
Well,
if
my
you
wife
had
tried.
oof. Yeah,
We're
well,
still married, so it worked out.
okay. Well,
But yeah, I distinctly remember her. She wrote me a letter and was like, "This shit is not working."
oh my God.
And it was an email, but it took that because she had been trying to talk to me in person,
Gene,
and I was like, just not. You know how it is when you
dude,
argue with your wife. You're like, I'm just gonna go hide, or I'm gonna like sidestep this judo style and then keep moving. And I read it, and I was like, fuck. Like I haven't. I was by myself, read it. Like, wow, I haven't thought about anyone else's perspective but my
we
own.
we're about to have a real time bonding moment. Benda wrote me a poem
Yeah. A poem.
via email.
Yeah.
She had been trying to tell me over
Yep.
and over and
Yep.
over, and I could not hear.
Yep.
She wrote me a poem. I remember it was something like, I'm drowning,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. And I was alone,
Mhm.
was reading it by myself, and I sat back and I was like,
Mhm.
I can't be that person.
Yep.
That I didn't know. I had no idea we had that in common until just now. I wonder how
That's cool.
common that is now.
I don't
I wonder
know.
how many
I don't
wives
know. I don't
and
know.
partners are writing
Well, if
emails.
you listen to this and you need to do that, it's a really good way to do it. Just write it. I've actually counseled people that friends of mine that I've known has been going through some marital issues. I'm like, write them a letter. Just write a letter. Take a week and edit it. Whatever you got to do, just write a letter and then give it to them.
It worked for me.
It will be therapeutic handing it over or hitting send,
Mhm.
and then whatever happens, they'll read it. Whatever. I mean, hopefully it works out well. In our case, I think it did. You'd have to ask her,
Yeah.
but
In our case, it certainly did.
yeah.
I full context, I was starting OTR, and I had took this was when I left the Nick, and I had the vision in my mind. I know what I needed to, make the company compete. I knew the website I needed, the legs I needed, the work that I needed. I didn't want to rely on the work that I've been doing over the past 10 years. I'm a big fan of Outkast has a line in one of their songs that says, you're only as funky as your last hit. So I like that. I'm like,
Pretty good wit.
That's me.
I like that flip.
I don't
want to
rely. And I it's funny now. I literally had created a corner of our apartment that was like my business world.
Oh,
but in my mind, it was like another universe.
Studio.
It's a universe.
Your wife's like, bitch, that's the bathroom. Yeah, I know.
And I wasn't making. I mean, I was making money, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I was draining all of the resources out of our apartment.
Right.
And it was incredibly volatile, incredibly hit or miss.
Right.
Maybe I'm around for dinner, maybe not. Do I have money for groceries? No. I can't help with the light bill, but I'm not even stopping to really understand what I'm saying. I'm just, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got that email, and then you know what I did? I went and got a fucking job. I was still working on the business, don't get me wrong, but I took an overnight job at Target, to bring in some regular income, because I was like, I can't let this. Actually, Jim Stritz gave me this advice. Stritzinger, he was like, I'm trying to think how he worded it. He said something like, your partner didn't sign up for your dream.
Absolutely not.
That's your dream. It's your vision, your world. It's in your mind. They didn't sign up for that. They signed up to be with you.
100%.
They are not only like asking them to be a part of your dream is not only is it selfish, it's incredibly harmful.
Yeah. Not to mention it's not realistic at all.
And not realistic at all.
No.
And so,
of course, there are outliers, but
but it's
for the 99%,
so rare to, and even in those cases, that person's dream is in line. I don't want to say in line because then people get the wrong. I hate when I don't say hate, but I'm not a fan of when people say I need your dream to be in line with my dream. Like, not necessarily.
It would be in line with the outcomes, I think.
What I need is to be open and honest with you about my dream. So you know what you're signing up for, but B, you know how best to deal with that world that I have. No different than we deal with anybody's world in a partnership, whether it's a friend, mom, dad, like understanding that comes with incredible responsibility and care, don't you think? Like, I think
100%.
is that kind of what you tell people when you're saying, how do you not, particularly when you're talking about relationships, how you not burn those down while you're trying to do your business?
Yeah, for mine, it wasn't so much the money was, so, running events is you're gone.
You're gone.
Because I was doing them all over the country.
Yep.
And it's not that simple though. I think if I just did 5 or 6 events a year and I would go to those, for the weekends or usually during the middle of the week, I think it would have been okay. It's all the other things that I had to do because you can't just go to an event. I have to go to the city.
Come on now.
And go to their little groups.
That's right.
Build those, you have to build those relationships and that loyalty, and you're working, for months before the event. So, and I was probably gone 2 weekends a month easily.
And how
not
much
to mention during the week.
How much were you also gone at home?
Oh,
like I don't mean like physically.
And that's it. I'm on the couch working, talking to other people when I'm home. Yeah. Yeah. And it was bad.
You all in my world.
Oh,
I'm literally in my little corner, or I have my little dinner tray with my laptop on front of the couch. Literally in my own. I'm not there.
And then it's like you've got the business world that you're, or the world you're operating your business in has its own stresses. There's things you don't like about it. There's probably things you don't like about it a lot. So you're dealing with that, and you're dealing with, hopefully you're paying attention. So you've got this at home, So, and I will tell you something else about relationships that I've learned, and I don't do well.
Yeah.
My wife listens to this, she'll be like, "You're full of shit." Is you can't just make a promise. It's actually more harmful to make a promise and then to take way too long to take care of it or never do it
Oh my god.
than it is to just fucking do it. Like,
Oh
don't
my
even talk
God.
about it. Just do
Don't
it.
even talk about. Man, that is
That's hard to do.
I learned that lesson the hard way.
You just got to take care of business.
Just gotta do it. You just gotta fucking do it and do it immediately.
Yes.
Because even if it's 24 hours,
Don't talk about it.
What I've discovered, and maybe you have too, is they're thinking about it now.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's 24 hours, they're going, like it's already too late.
Yeah, this some bitch is not going to do it.
Yep, it's already. So now, even if you do it the next day, it's like it was still an afterthought for him.
Yeah. Or they did it just because I asked.
Yep.
Now it's just getting done so that to shut me up.
And it just makes that it
totally
just keeps
is
building tension.
But that's the thing, it totally is. I'm only doing this so you'll leave me alone. That's it. That's the truth.
It is the truth, but it's only part of the truth.
But if you know what you're supposed to do,
you know what you're supposed to do.
Do it.
Just do it.
And you're golden.
You're
golden.
Life becomes. If Benda ever hears this podcast, she
don't let her listen to it.
It'd be like church for her. She'd be like, "Amen, amen," because that brother right there. I mean,
yeah, that's a good man. But why doesn't he do it?
I mean, it took me a long time, particularly when you're running around and you're doing all these things and you have all of these obligations. I wonder if this ever happened to you. One of the things that and this was really a carryover from my Shakista Beats days, because I tried to have relationships when I was a DJ, and that was a disaster. And a carryover from that, when I became more into the filmmaker side, and then now filmmaker entrepreneur side, was all these people that I knew. So I'm wondering, this is if you can relate to this because of your event time, that B hated coming places with me. Because when I'm out and I'm shaking hands, everybody likes me.
Yeah.
Everybody's hugging me. Yeah. Everybody's telling her, "Oh, he's so great. He's
awesome.
Such a great." I mean, I can't. Oh, this is who. Oh man, Sherard is this, and Shakisa is this. And the whole time she's just thinking, "I hate you. Don't. I wish I could tell you."
Yeah. Why aren't you like this to me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did that ever happen to you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sometimes B would go sit in the corner, dude. Or sometimes she'd leave.
Yeah. There's some scars that we still carry from that. So like,
oh yeah, same. Cheers. Cheers to that shit.
Well, there's like, there was a lot of travel involved with these events and multiple, like it was logistics. It's a lot of like, how do I move? Like just on the crew and the people speaking at the event or whatever, how do I move 50 people across the country? Like there's a lot of planning. Then you plan the itinerary and the events and all these things we do. And I would
hotels, gas.
I mean, I would plan it out. And then even to this day, we'll go on a family vacation. She'd be like, "You haven't planned a goddamn thing. Like you don't even seem like you care where we're going." And I'm like, "What? I don't." But I do. I promise I do.
Yeah.
And why can't you work on, right?
You do all that shit for them.
Why can't you plan it? Like, just
you can't do anything for this?
Yeah.
So then you don't care about this, but you care about that, clearly.
And that's the message I'm sending.
That's the message you're sending.
And I am sending that message.
Yes, 100%.
And you can say, "No, I promise."
No. It does not matter. Because reality is reality, Gene. I know we want to make it what we want to make it. Ooh, that was actually deep, but you can't.
Yeah.
You're sending the message of, I am planning for this over here because I care about
it's
this.
Important. Yeah.
This is not. This is not. So I'm not, even if it's not intentional, even if you've created.
Yeah. Because
that's one of the things that people love to do, that I've found, is they love to create realities, that they live in. But it's just not the real world, and in the real world, your actions and your words have consequences. And
you may not even know.
You can't, this whole idea, I used to do that, Benda. I remember when Hamilton first came out, she used to really love Hamilton because she'd be like, "That's fucking you." You know, there's this line where Eliza in the song, one of the songs, she says, "You make pyramids out of paragraphs." She was like,
Yeah.
"That's you." Your words,
Right.
you create all of
Right.
these words to the point where I don't even agree with you, but it's like I'm so lost in what you're
I'm
saying
good.
that I'm just gonna go, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? And in my
Right.
mind, I'm thinking, I did it.
Good. That's my job.
But what I realized was that doing that, like not it, it's almost like a mute you're like creating like this corrupt mutation of your relationship
Yeah.
intentionally without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Because all you're really doing is saying, I'm not going to deal with reality. I'm not going to deal with the fact that I actually am exhibiting a habit that says I don't care about you or I don't care about our vacations. I'm not going to address that. I'm just going to go, here's this bucket of words to explain that I want you to get lost in, that I can get lost in, so I can keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
And I could either make you dull to what I'm doing, or you just end up like a lump of, you just let me do whatever I want to do all over you. You know what I mean? In either way it goes, you got to step back from that and say, okay, if I'm going to do that to that person, do I actually love them?
Yep. Well, they'll get tired of it eventually.
Oh yeah. And they'll write you emails.
If you're lucky, they'll let you know.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
I mean, I know a lot of people that they're just like, I'm out, you know.
They're out. Either they check out mentally, they check out physically, they leave. Cheating, it has so many different ways. Because again, just like the actual person doing it doesn't like living in reality, sometimes they don't either. And so instead of them actually giving you a letter or email, something like that, they just go, well, I'm gonna create a reality for myself too. You wanted one, I want one too. And now we're just creating realities together.
I think most people do. Yeah.
I completely agree, man.
I didn't know we had all that in common. That's cool.
I didn't know that either,
awesome.
man.
Well, it's not awesome, but it's interesting.
It's very, very interesting. I mean, that to me, if I'm being honest with you, well, I'm trying to get out of saying that. Let me be frank.
I had someone correct me. My sensei actually corrected me on that one time. It's like, I'm be honest. He was like, was everything else you say not honest?
Right.
And I was like, oh shit.
Oh, yeah. Like, it doesn't make sense when you think about it. It's just, we say these things that, don't really have meaning. What I'm really saying is, let me be frank.
Yeah.
That confronting that issue made our relationship, it was like it was reborn.
Right. That's
like
cool.
That was because what I realized, particularly when it comes to relationships that are romantic, but really this is all relationships. People want to be heard.
Yeah.
They want to feel like you care.
Yeah. You got to listen to them.
Her feeling like I care just changed our dynamic, and it takes time. It took time. It wasn't like an immediate switch because she was still like looking at me crazy. Are you sure you're gonna be there on time? You know what I mean? That happened for a while, but like the good times were actually good. I could feel that the good times were good again.
Good.
As opposed to, you can feel it when it's fake.
Yeah.
We're
working here.
You laugh together on the scene of a movie, but then at the end of that laugh, she's like, I still hate you. But the laughs were whole again, and we were cracking jokes again. I could feel that, so confronting that, which is, that's a lesson in that alone, Gene. Like picking up that kettlebell, confronting that business problem, like all of your joys on the other side of that.
It is, man. That's where the good stuff is. That's where it's solid. It's where you wanted it to begin with. You got to do the work. But I want to go back to what you were talking about before. I don't know how to bridge there, but this idea that it's just business and I need to look at it from that business lens so that I can manipulate the pieces of it to work like it needs to work, and taking it personal. Like there's a line there, and you kind of need a healthy dose of both, I think.
Yeah.
I think you do have to take it personal because you run the risk of, I see it in a lot of people when they're like burned out, where they just don't care anymore.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Yep.
it's just business. We're just going to manipulate the numbers and move on.
Excuse me.
But like, you do have to take your business personal.
Yes.
But then you also have to be able to sort of detach and work on it.
Yes. I think both are right. In my opinion, for whatever it's worth, I think you have to take it personal because it is important to you.
Mm-hmm.
However, that doesn't mean that it is you. That's my point. You know what I mean? Like, I am not my business.
Right.
It's just a part of me.
Right.
So I'm going to take it personal because it's important to me. It's something that I do. It's a part of me, but it's not all that I am. And I got a lot of work to do on myself if I think all that I am is this business.
Mm-hmm.
And that is specifically what I mean when I tell my students that. Because particularly when you're young, critique of your work is devastating.
Yeah, that's the point where I was having that thought earlier.
Yeah.
Talking about critique.
It's devastating,
Yeah.
Particularly even for young business owners,
Well, my oldest son is he's at Clemson. He's studying architecture. And so I went to art school. I went to University of South Carolina, studio art degree, focus in illustration.
Oh.
So we routinely got our asses ripped when we showed our work by the whole class. Everyone's just like, almost every other class. And he experienced that for the first time where he presented his project and he was like, I presented it. And because he was showing us, he texted, look at my project, look at the animation I made, this thing. And I was like, that looks great, son, whatever. And then like the next day he shows it in class and he texts me back. He's like, they're all a bunch of assholes. Like, I was like, well, that's called a critique.
That's called a critique.
Yeah.
And
that's something, I think that's something we don't, your business is creative.
Yes.
Right. We're not, mine is too, to an extent, although it's way more commercial, but it's creative. Mm-hmm. I think you can kind of learn to balance that in a creative endeavor. I know people who can't, but I think you have to.
But I think you have to because I think it's harder for the creative.
Because you're going to hear it more.
Right. Because you're going to hear it more, but B, and this from being a creative, it's a part, your creativity is a part of you.
Right. And that's
so
what I mean.
It's harder to take it.
How do you extract your personal
because it's
self
like,
out of it?
I made this. You know what I mean? My hand drew this. It came from my brain. And
you don't like that, you don't like me.
Yeah, right. You don't like that.
And that's how we doing this. Yeah. Wait.
And it's not, it's just not. It makes me always sports analogies, hip hop lines. It reminds me of that Jay-Z line. I heard motherfuckers saying they made Hove. Made Hove say, okay, so make another Hove. Like you what he was trying to say was, what I'm able to do, I can do it over and over and over and over and over. And that's what I try to tell even my own son, when it comes to people. He's really into building stuff out of cardboard. Like literally, he's been doing this since he was 3 years old, anything. But now when he takes stuff to school, like kids might be like, oh, what's this piece of trash? You know? And it's like,
right.
Like you have the ability to create these whenever you want.
Yeah.
So what? Somebody didn't like one. And I know it's
yours.
You're
going to make some they
don't
thing.
Like. You feel like they're talking about you when they're critiquing your thing. But guess what? You're going to go home and make like 3 more. And they could never make one.
That's right.
Even if they wanted to, because it's just not them.
Yep.
And this is a part of you. And so that's what I, try to press upon my students. Like, one of the beautiful things about being a creative is I can always create something else.
Yeah.
It's what I do. I can always create something else. I can always edit something. I can always change it. I can change it into something I don't like. I can change it into something I like. I can change it into something people love that I might not like. Like I can do so many things. And I wonder though, if that only comes with maturity though.
I think so.
That thinking.
Yeah. And to tie it back to
hard to grasp.
Tie it back to business. You see a lot of new, I want to avoid the word younger, but that's kind of what it is. But new
inexperienced
entrepreneurs, sure, where they tie themselves to their work product so tightly to where whatever they put out if it's not received well or whatever, it's like they're personally a failure.
Personally a failure.
Yeah, and that's part of that line. I think you learn to walk once you've been, ripped apart once or twice. Maybe you just, and it's something you still truly love. You will go back to it.
Yeah,
you can withstand getting ripped apart.
You really can.
Mhm.
And that's when you really start figuring out, like, those old adages that make sense to me now, like what you're really seeing, showing what you're really made of, or seeing what you're really made of.
Yeah.
Like those things really start making sense when you look at
Mhm.
things that way, and you start going, oh, they're not really talking about me.
Not me personally. Yeah.
Not me personally.
Yeah.
They're just talking about the fact that they don't like the letter S in the logo I made. I
Yeah.
can change that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's easy to do.
Yep.
And I do think, particularly for young business owners, like, I think, don't you, this is a good question for you. Don't you think a lot of that connection to the personal comes from the social media world we kind of live in right now?
Yeah.
Because everything is so self-centered, as much as I love Gary Vee, most people know him, have no idea the businesses that he has.
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
It's like, I want to be Gary Vee. I want to be this guy. I want to be Jonah Berger. Like, people are so focused on,
Mhm.
I see it on social media all the time. I'm the boss, entrepreneur life,
Yeah.
how to be an owner in 24 hours, all these kind of things. And it's
Mhm.
like, I think, don't you think that is coming from a place of this really self-branding, selfish, I want the focus to be all about me?
I think so. I really
So
do.
then-
And the crazy part is to think that there are entrepreneurs now. I hate that word. Business owners now, or business people, or whatever, that have only existed in a world where that stuff exists.
Yes.
And it's going to be even more and more. That kind of warps. I think that kind of warps a lot of, like, the way you should hold yourself accountable and work on things,
Yes.
and your approach.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy to think about that? That there are
I-
people in the world who start their business and they've never owned their own business or run a business or sold 10-cent lemonade on the side of the street. Since their parents were taking pictures of them selling 10-cent lemonade. You know what's weird? I'm interrupting you, but
no, go ahead.
there's
Please.
this it's weird. Maybe it's not weird, but there's this kid who started following me on Instagram. He is an MMA fighter. He's like 12, which is cool or weird, depending on your perspective. But I was following him, or he followed me, and I went down a rabbit hole of his Instagram feed, and it was like professionally done. Like the pictures were like edited, and then, like, the saying, he's like, working hard this morning on my whatever, and hashtags, and I was like, and then I read some, I was like, he's not writing that.
No.
His parents are writing.
His parents, someone is pulling the strings, and they figured out the algorithm, right? That,
But, like,
people are attracted to the self.
Mhm.
So
That's the weird
blow
part,
up
though.
the self, then. But I think when it comes to, like, one of the greatest lessons I've ever got, I probably said this on the podcast before, because my Uncle Marty, I just have never forgotten when he said to me, when you are a business owner, he said, you are creating an opportunity for people to take care of themselves.
Oh, right.
So he was like, it's not about you. It's about this world that you're creating, where how you interact with them, how you pay them, the culture that you create around them is creating this world that allows them not only to learn leadership and values from you, but also you're creating opportunities for them to take care of their kids, to pay their bills, to pay their light bills, to pay their rent, to pay their car note, to put food on their table. And he was like, it's about the we, it's not about the I. And what I found in the social media world, because it's so much about the personal brand and the I think many, particularly younger entrepreneurs, are so into building up the I, and you can do it so easily. Like, I'm of the unpopular opinion that you should
get
have to
unpopular.
get a license before you become a business owner.
I got you.
I think you guys should have to go through because one of the things I don't think people understand is there's a difference between having a side hustle and running a business.
Right. That's right.
When you have a 9 to 5, you are not an entrepreneur. You're not a business owner because someone else is paying your bills.
Mm-hmm.
You are a business owner when you're paying your bills with your business. Until then, it's just a side hustle.
Side hustle.
So calling yourself the entrepreneur this or the business owner that, or when you don't have any all of your responsibilities are taken care of by someone else, you're just lying to people.
You are.
And I find that particularly consistent with younger creators, but I see it trickling over into the middle-aged creatives, you know, and it's like, I am completely responsible for all of the people you see around me.
That's right.
Do you know what that life is like?
Yeah.
Do you know what it's like? Dude, it's from September to December, January too. Everybody in my company made more than me.
Yeah. Are you willing to do that?
Are you willing to say, I'm going to write this person this $3,000 check every 2 weeks?
And I ain't writing myself.
And I'm not writing myself anything, Gene. I can't even buy eggs.
That's right. None of us can buy eggs, but
like, that is when you are. Everything else is really just kind of blowing up this selfish. That's when you're in it. You know, you're not in it until then. You're just on the sidelines. And I think that that doesn't mean that you're not technically an owner. Like you might technically own the LLC and your name might be on you might have things, federal tax ID number. Like, yes, you have those things, but your livelihood is not dependent upon you going out and making it happen. And anybody that is living that lifestyle has a different reality from you.
They do.
And so it makes it a lot harder, I believe. And I don't know if you find this. I certainly find this with myself. It makes it harder for me to brand myself.
Yeah.
Because even though, you know, my company is certainly on me about it, because of the whole Shakis thing and me walking back into that recently. But I'm so focused on us because the honest truth is, if you are a business owner, the most important thing to you are your people. Period.
It should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
Because if all of you're thinking about is yourself,
it's not going to last long.
It's just not going to last, man. And you're just burning up relationships. People that might have actually liked you or loved you, you're just burning it. You're just
there's something to that, because even nowadays you see a lot of turnover.
Yes.
In companies, and you know, people talking about the what was the term? The
quiet quitting.
Yeah, quiet quitting and minimal working and all this stuff. I mean, you know, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why those are trending topics. Because leadership in other places is the opposite of what you just said.
Yeah,
I think it is.
It is, man. And there's something to, you know, I do love the idea that creating a quote unquote personal brand for business owners or CEOs or, you know, whatever you are, the business owner, because you get a chance to allow other business owners or people that are thinking about owning their business to see behind the veil. So I do like that idea of your Ray Dalio, several people that I follow that are, you know, but I think it gets dangerous when you've become the thing.
Yeah.
And
when that becomes your business.
Yeah. When you become the business, it's like, it to me, it warps. Not only people's perception of you, but I believe it makes it harder for you to grow your business. I think because my greatest gains have come from thinking about the whole, not just thinking about me.
Yeah. I think if you dig deep on those people like that, you'll find that the actual businesses that got them there, they're probably not running that stuff anymore.
Probably not running it.
Someone else, or they've sold it or whatever. Now that's their business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're 100% totally right.
Like the guy, what's the guy, Mr. Fantastic or whatever?
Yeah.
Like he ain't running no business.
He ain't running no business, man. Come on.
I mean,
Come on now.
yeah,
Nah.
he's up there talking about Web3, and
Yeah.
it's just not. He's not running
Nah.
businesses. He's a
Nah.
TV personality.
Yeah, and most of these, I think that boom. I think that's what most people want to be.
No shit.
Celebrities and
Yeah, right.
personalities.
Right.
That's what they want.
And
they don't want to be business owners.
And something like Instagram, you get a couple thousand followers.
Get a couple thousand, even shoot these days, a couple hundred.
You can feel like it.
Yep. And they next thing you know, you're starting to talk on. And I gotta be, I gotta be. It's hard for me to respect you. It's just hard. I might like you, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I have very little respect for you.
Haven't done anything yet.
Because I mean, yeah, but did I see you on the panel? Yes. And did I see you going to be on this Zoom thing? Yes, I did. And I see you going to be a part of that. Yes. And I see you, going to speak at the conference. Yes, I do. I see all of it. I don't care.
Yeah. What have you fought through?
What have you fought
through? I want to be very clear when I say things like, you haven't done anything yet. That sounds very like old man.
It does.
Especially old white dude.
Even looking at you saying it makes me go, ugh.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is, what have you overcome?
Yes.
Like, tell me the story about the worst day in your business and why you're still here.
Yep.
That's where I start to get respect. And it's not because I want everybody to have scars.
No.
Like I do, like, no, you got to go through the shit. It's partly that. But also, I want to know what kind of wisdom you're going to bring to the table. What kind of experience?
I want to know if you're, I want to know if your experience, no different than any field, any field. If I'm going to go get my car fixed, I want to go to a mechanic who has experience with the type of car I have.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go buy shoes, I want to make sure this person has experience constructing shoes,
right?
Headphones,
right.
Like gas. I don't mind going to a new gas station I never heard of before, but did they just start making gas Tuesday? I'm probably not going to put that gas in my car. It's the same reason why many people don't buy new devices when they come out, right? Because it's like,
you always wait.
Let me wait before they go through, because they just started making phones,
proven software on
you know what I mean? Boy. Yeah, and it's like, so why do you all of a sudden think because you got on Instagram and said you're a culture leader or whatever the hell you be coming up with, but you don't have no receipts? Like, that's one of the reasons why it's funny. We were talking about something about this last time about the proliferation of journalists.
Quote, man, my brain was going there too. Yeah.
And it's like, you're not a journalist.
It's just an opinion person.
It's just an opinion. You're just an opinionated person. You haven't gone to school for journalism. Like, that's completely disrespectful. Imagine for a second if we took that same philosophy and put it on a surgeon.
Oh God.
And you don't give me that whole crap, but that's totally different. No, it's not.
It's not different at all.
This person has gone through tests and screening and schooling and failures
and critiques
and wins
that make them
critiques
cry
to get them to the place where they are at a point where they are an expert. No different than, that's why I put a lot of respect on people that are doctors or scholars when it comes to not the academic side.
Because they've gone through rigorous.
Because they've gone through rigorous training for years on this particular subject. Like literally, not even like
feet.
like. Yeah, you're right. Like, not even feet, like the skin underneath the left toe.
Yeah.
They've been studying that skin for 7 years. Yeah. Like,
I'll listen to that guy.
I'm gonna listen to that guy. That guy knows what he's talking about, as opposed to the guy that just woke up one day and was like, I'm just because
Doctor
social media,
Instagram.
I'm a George Santos this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And that I think that is harmful also to people that want to become business owners and aren't sure. I think they see that world, and I think it's harmful because it makes them think, oh, I got to figure out how to be a personality to be a business owner. When it's like, no, you just got to figure out how to solve a problem.
It's almost like, you teach media literacy. It's almost like business literacy, because tying into the journalist thing, like, it's so low barrier to, like, to have a podcast, $1,000. You don't even need that.
You don't even need that.
That's what I got here. Like, a little place to put it. Yeah. And then an Instagram account, which is free, a Facebook account, which is free. There you go. Podcast, open a news channel. Like, but I think as people on this earth with iPhones, we're starting to understand how low the barrier to entry is to give me news.
Low.
But we don't see that in business as much.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, hey, I'm a business. I got a logo on a mug. And you're like,
I got a shirt. Look
like,
at my shirt.
okay, damn, dude's in business. You know, let's sign some contracts. Like,
you got to be able to see
Yeah,
through the, you know,
yeah.
what the DMX say, the seeing through the fog. You know, you got to be able to see through the fog, and that's one of the things that social media does really well. It creates a very murky fog that is hard for people to see through, which is why I think people need to be media literate. Because how else are you going to be able to decipher?
And businesses and business personalities are using that.
Oh yeah,
they're weaponizing that to get your money.
Oh,
like they really are.
They really, really are nickel and diming people. I can't tell you how many times I scroll on Instagram and see, want to start a video? Let me show you how.
Yeah.
Want to make a fashion? Your social medias are down. Let me show you how. Like it's, it
is like pervasive in the gym. I'm sure it's in every industry, but I see it a lot because the algorithm shows me gym owner stuff.
Oh my god!
And it's like, need 20 leads tomorrow.
Yes,
give me $200. And it's like, wait, like there's like 1,000 of them, and it's always some. And I'm gonna sound like a dick, but it's always like some 22-year-old dude.
22-year-old dude, or
he's like,
woman.
I got it figured out. It's like, bro, I don't think you do.
I don't think you do. I think you said, here's an angle. I figured out the algorithm and a way for people to put money in my pocket for me to talk about this idea.
And it worked for one person. Now you're selling it.
And it actually might not have worked for anybody.
Yeah.
But people love, but you're able, again, like I was saying, pyramids out of paragraphs. You're able to put together those words that make people feel like, you know, it's one. I never forget. My friend Kevin's gonna get me for this, but I never forget. One time we were in the backyard, and my buddy KB was there, and he was like, yeah, I might have said this like on the first podcast we ever had, Gene, and it was like, he was saying something about humans not eating meat. But his argument came from a video on Facebook where the guy was saying that
we talked about that.
Human beings don't pant. That, you know, all the things animals do, we don't do. And he was saying, you know, he was like, humans don't pant. And I was like,
it's called breathing, bro.
What?
It's called breathing heavy.
And so Kate was like, yo, where'd you get that from? And he was like, yo, it's this Facebook, you know, video. Yeah. The guy watched this video. So he was just like, here, watch this video. And so as soon as he handed me the phone, I go, who is that? Where are they teaching?
Who paid for it?
Who paid for it? Who do you know who this guy is? Do you know if he's an actual doctor? Do you know anything about him? You know anybody? Right. You know what university he had? What university he graduated from? Yeah. And I said, and so literally while we're talking, I just close it, go to Safari, Google his name. It's a dude out in Cali, no degree, you know, like it's easy to find his website. Right. I'm like, you're gonna take this dude's word. Like, you know, that ability to see through the fog and see that the system is set up for people to get in on the ground floor. It's set up for you to just open up your cell phone, go to Podomatic, one of these podcast websites, and start an opinion-based thing right now, because that's what the system wants you to do.
That's what they want.
The algorithm wants you to engage as much as possible. They want content as much as you could possibly feed it.
Do you think we're at the point where we have enough content?
No.
No,
which is it was just such a good and bad thing, right? Because one of the reasons why I say no is because there's so much content we still don't have.
Oh, sure.
That needs to be out there. There's so many stories that need to be told, perspectives that need to be told that just are not out there. However, I do think there is a lot of content that we have too much of.
Sure.
I think at some point, and I talked about this last time I was on the podcast, I think that's at some point regulation has to start entering that space.
It's got to. At some point,
someone has to come in and go, no, we've got 72 million sports shows. No more sports shows. You gotta. We don't have room.
Enough fantasy football. Good
football.
Lord. Yeah.
You know, I mean, if I see another sports podcast, I'm a scream.
Yeah,
like, oh my God. Like, they started out great. And you know, it's too many sports podcasts when they don't even have sports people on anymore to interview.
It's just random.
I'm like, what is Kevin Hart doing on I'm an Athlete?
Yeah, what the hell?
It's not even an athlete. What's happening here? Like, why is Gabrielle Union on Drink Champs? Like, what are we doing?
What is happening?
That's how you know.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much.
Too much.
And because what makes a product, this will never die. what makes a product good, what makes a product best, what makes a product premium is that every time you get that product, it is that product.
Right.
You put 50%, you put 50 cents in that soda machine, you press Pepsi, you get Pepsi.
Right.
That is what every single time. I don't have to think about it. Nike buying it.
Yep.
You don't have to think about Apple buying it. You know what I mean? Like that is what makes a product valuable.
That's right. That's a good point.
It is what it says it is. And any entity that is still here. Levi's, I mean, you can Wells Fargo, you can go down the road.
Very
like,
simplified.
Simplified
is not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? Minimal.
Very minimal. I tell people all the time, Apple has one phone.
Yeah. Because minimalism is hard.
They have one device, Gene.
Yeah.
That's why no one could ever beat them.
Yep.
There's no 17. They only have versions of the same
Well, they don't
device.
make the older versions anymore. They make the
They
new
don't
one.
even make the old versions anymore.
They make the new one and that's keep going.
And the new one, so whether you have a Pro or SE or a regular or a Mini, it's the same phone.
It's all an iPhone. It's just got different
It's not a
cameras
Galaxy or you know, I don't think of all the Android phones, but it's one device.
Yeah.
Literally, that's it.
Yep.
And that gives you an edge that people can bank on.
Right.
And if people can bank on it, it's the reason why they go to the grocery store they do. It's the reason why they go to the gas station that they do. It's the reason it's never going to go away.
That's why McDonald's blew up like it did originally, because it's the same hamburger everywhere.
The same hamburger everywhere. You know exactly what I know exactly what I'm going to get when I go into a McDonald's. And you're going to know if you're going to like it.
For the most part, they're the same no matter where you are.
No matter where you on earth.
Which is weird.
Isn't that weird?
It's very weird.
But that's capitalism for you, though.
Well, tell me about Shakis the Beast.
Oh man,
I've been seeing your Instagram and Facebook where you're talking about coming out.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm still navigating through
going out. I don't know.
You know, I'm still navigating through it because it's still so new and fresh for me. So it's still like this new journey that I'm on.
Okay.
And you know, like I said in a video I posted about 2 weeks ago, which I just thought I should talk about this publicly. You know,
first off, let me interrupt you and say I like that. I think you should do more of that.
Thank you, man.
I think you should
appreciate it.
Tell your story more. I don't know you'd like the whole we just had a whole like 30 minutes about that's not what it's about, but I think you should. But
thank you. I will. I'll receive that, Gene. Because I know everything you said is thoughtful. So I certainly will receive that. I separated myself from Shakis the Beast because when I started OTR Media Group and becoming a filmmaker and a film producer and eventually a business owner, I didn't want to enter rooms as the Shakis the Beast guy.
Right.
You know? And fortunately, Shakis the Beast had a lot of popularity, you know, as a DJ, but then eventually as a event promoter, and then eventually, you know, with Love, Peace, and Hip Hop and World Famous Hip Hop Family Day, like everybody knew me as Shakis, you know. And in my mind at that time, I was thinking, I don't want to enter a room and get reduced to a DJ.
Right.
You
Makes
know
sense.
what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
At the time, and you see people do this, you know, all the time. I didn't want to be reduced to that DJ and people, you know, treat me with that hand on that shoulder where they go, oh, the cute DJ. Hey, there you go. You gonna play some music for us, buddy?
We'll take our business elsewhere.
We'll take our business elsewhere. Yeah. What you gonna play some business? Are you gonna you know, because people would do that.
You can't make mine.
Are you gonna go DJ?
Yeah.
You know, oh, this would be great. And I was like, I gotta separate myself from that.
Makes sense.
And but what I realized, and this was during that time where, you know, we lost all those projects and OTR was really, really struggling. And I was examining everything. And one of the things I thought about was the word value. And because I was looking at my company that way, where are we not getting value from? What am I investing in where there's not a lot of value return at? Where can I get more return at? And then after I started going through that with the business, I went, I just turned that dial towards me. And I said, well, where are you not getting value out of yourself, Sherard? You know, and I was like, man, I'm not getting any value out of Shakis. And the great thing about Shakis the Beast is not only is it me, not only did I earn it, it's something that I love, that I do naturally. you know, and not, I don't want to get people confused, not value in terms of monetary value, but value just in terms of what's valuable to you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And what's valuable to me is two major things, and that is hip hop culture, particularly because it made me the person that I am. It literally is responsible for the life I am today. It literally saved my life. I would not be who I am or where I am today without me discovering that culture. But in addition to that, I began to realize how valuable Shakis was to South Carolina hip hop culture, and particularly hip hop culture. You know, for the people that, you know, I was able to touch at Shakis the Beats through doing shows and events and all that kind of stuff. But that one of the things that I realized about cultures and communities is a lot of times people don't create a place for people to join in, and once somebody leaves, it becomes like a void.
Mm.
And one of the things I began realizing is, there are a lot of lessons that Shakis learned, a lot of things that I did, a lot of things I were a part of that I could probably help a ton of
That's
young
cool.
artists and DJs,
Very cool.
a ton of people that are trying to figure hip hop out, a ton of people that are trying to figure out their way, and I can help them avoid a lot of, they can onboard a lot faster to wherever they're going. And that's kind of where that all came from. And I ended up talking to my brother, Fat Rat Desire, one of my closest friends, and he was like, he was like, about time. You know what I mean? He was like, man, it was so weird for me. Because I want to call you Shakis, but I don't know. I got to call you, you know. And what I found, it was kind of weird for everybody, you know, because I had all of these people that and I vehemently distance myself. So, you know, even when people would say, oh, Shakis, you know, and I'd be like, I immediately would go, oh, well, I don't do that anymore. Or,
Right.
oh, that was another time. You know,
Yeah,
I was one of those guys. That was another lifetime.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I started going, that's kind of ridiculous. Like, it's a part of who I am. It's a part of what good I think I can do in the world. It's valuable to me, that good of me. It's a part that I want my son to see. You know, I think it really speaks to his creative juices in another way, seeing
cool.
me in that light, you know. So, you know, now,
awesome.
especially now he's 11, like, you know, he don't know anything. Only thing he knows about, because I don't have equipment anymore at the house. So the only thing he knows about Shakis the Beast is I have a couple of paintings people have given me over the years of me, which sounds kind of egotistical, but it's true.
No, it's
you know,
awesome.
and I have them in my house. So he like, it's like, so maybe dad did used to DJ.
What is all that?
You know what I mean? And so now, you know, he
Yeah.
gets a chance to, and he's an extremely creative kid.
Yeah.
And so I love the idea, even if it's just for him to say, oh, I can do that, and I can be creative too.
Right.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
My dad was able to do it. So let me feel more comfortable in my creative skin. And so it's still new. I'm still learning how to talk about it in a way that's succinct, but it's a journey that I'm embracing again, and I'm excited to show up at Shakis the Beast when necessary. You know, I'm still figuring out when and where that happens, but I know one thing I know for sure is wherever South Carolina hip hop needs me, I know I'll be there first.
That's
so
awesome.
let me start there, and then I'll figure everything else out.
That's awesome. Well,
Thank you, man.
I would say, listening, being an outsider, it sounds like you're approaching it based on all the things you've learned in your life.
Yep.
You're approaching this Shakis the Beast South Carolina hip hop with a we instead of an I mentality.
100%.
And I think that's gonna be the difference for you.
Thank you, man.
That's
I needed
awesome.
to hear that, but that's 100% accurate.
That's awesome.
I'm certainly thinking about the we, not the I. The Shakis before was all about the I. It was not even a question. I didn't call myself the Beast for no reason.
We all were. Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, yeah, man, that's beautiful, Gene. It certainly is about the we for me, awesome. Not about the I. So, you know, it's even interesting now when people, hey, man, can you come do this, do that? I'm like, is that about the we? Because if it's not about the we, I don't know if I want to do it. But if it's about the we,
that's a good marker, man.
Sign me up.
That's a good marker.
That's that right now, at least. That's awesome. Where I feel comfortable.
Hey, and that's a strong, you want to talk about branding? That's a strong brand that will carry you the rest of your life.
Oh, shit. There goes my capitalist brain. Let me quiet it.
It's always
Yeah,
there.
man.
Well, man, this was a great talk.
It was.
Let's do it again in another month or
I
so.
love to.
See where we are with
I
things.
love talking to you, man. And I'm glad we finally got it. I think this is our first time really talking about so many business things. I would
Yeah.
love to talk about you in the podcast. I know we talk a lot about me listening, and I love doing that. But you know, I think there's certainly some things about the creative business of video that I want to kind of dive
Awesome.
into a lot. I just think that that's the next frontier for industry that people
Okay.
are missing, because
Well,
after the state gets connected, which will happen,
mhm.
the leading communication tool is video in every aspect of life. So I love to talk more about the different ways that that world is gonna, I think, affect our future.
Let's do it. There's a lot of other things happening too.
Oh yeah, man. Don't stop.
Oh,
Welcome to life, Gene.
yes, sir. Well, thank you for joining me again, man.
Thank you, man.
As always, it's
Always
a
a pleasure.